Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's Alicia and Michael here of Footprinting. And today we're talking about common mistakes that occur when you're designing for print. So right before we started this conversation, Michael, you actually said you want to do this video because the audience needs to know this and then they won't mess up again, right? When it comes to designing things. And obviously you and your team are there to help with that, but we want to just kind of make these, put these out there for your customers so that they can be a little bit more educated. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to just walk us through those common mistakes.
Well, I mean, now with Adobe's, suite being only like $50 or even like $30 for students, you got a lot of people out there that don't know too much about graphic design that are trying to design their own stuff. And that's great. That's wonderful. Save a buck, make something looking nice. But there's a lot of pitfalls and mistakes that you can run into. And especially since most people don't know about designing for print, they're only really caring about designing for the internet. Which leads me to number one out of the common mistakes, using RGB, red, green, blue, and says CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Now, the internet is built out of RGB, but everything that we print here is CMYK. Those are the four colors. Any full color picture you see is just a combination of those four colors in a dot pattern to make what you're seeing. That's what we want for the pictures. If you put an RGB picture in there, it might look more vibrant. And then when it prints, it's not going to look as vibrant. You're going to be like, oh, why? Well, because that's the nature of the difference between RGB and CMYK. Number two, high resolution images. I see so many people are like, well, just take the image off the internet or take it off my website. That is in 72 DPI. Most images you want 300 DPI. If you're doing the math, that's like at least 4 times as much or whatever, and it's just not going to show up as well. You're going to have pictures where you can see the little boxes from Photoshop. You don't want that. You want high resolution images. Our equipment's able to print up to 1200 DPI for images. So if you have 72, you're way off the mark, and it's not going to look as nice as it could be based on the capabilities of the printing machine. So number 3, convert to vector art. Okay. A lot of times this is like a font issue. If you have fonts on there, when you convert them to vector art is something that even if I design a 1-inch by 1-inch little thing, I can blow it up, and it's based on a formula and not just a bunch of little squares. So all your rounded angles are still going to look perfect. You definitely want to use vector art for any kind of logo, and even convert your text to pass, which is then creates vector art. Include bleeds. This is huge. Nobody ever does it. If you have art or pictures that go to the edge of a printed piece, you need to have it go past there. When we're cutting 100 or 1,000 sheets at a time and that blade comes through, it's going to move a little bit, only a little bit, maybe a 32nd of an inch. But if you have nothing on the other side of that might be white on that edge there. So you need to have bleed, which is extending beyond where you plan to cut it. Okay, include separate layers for coatings and spot inks. Okay, everything we're putting here is CMYK. We get a lot of files that come in that have a lot of spot colors in there. So if you put a spot color orange or a spot color purple, a lot of times those are going to look great on your piece. But when you go to print it at CMYK, that orange is going to get muddied up. So it's not going to be exactly what you're looking at there. And you want to have them separate and make sure that you're asking your printer about that before they go to print and what you can do to make those look better. Maybe add a 5th color or something like that. Watch your page count for creep on booklets. All right, so we're usually just adding creep ourselves. You wouldn't really have to do that necessarily. That's just creeping every single page towards the middle of the book in on a saddle stitch book, so that when we do the trim, it's, some of your page numbers aren't gonna just like walking the dog, go out further and further to the cut line. That's a harder concept that really most people don't even know. We can take care of you here. Overprint settings. I've seen this a lot. You're designing something in Illustrator, you accidentally press a button, and something that's a solid black is then overprinting a picture or something in the background. You're not normally going to see that, even if you open it in Acrobat on your PDF, unless you click overprint view and stuff like that. So stuff, might just disappear out of nowhere. So, if you can design something on your own, that's great. I would always hire a professional. But we got 3 designers, me being one of them here on staff, that can do some pretty decent work and at least know how to avoid those 7 pitfalls, and can help you through them and make sure that your printed piece prints as beautifully as possible.
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling all of those different things to us. I will be honest, anybody might have a good eye for design, like especially when they're doing it digitally, but that was a lot of technical information when it comes to actually printing those designs that I know I wouldn't have thought of. So I'm sure a lot of people out there wouldn't have thought of those either. So thank you, as always, for just jumping on here and helping educate us a little bit. And as you said, you guys have your designers over there at Footprinting that are going to be able to help us with any print job that we have. So if that's you and you just have, something that you're working on and you know that you could use a little bit of design help, because all of that technical stuff that Michael was talking about, you were like, oh, I didn't really know that. We hope this helps, and we hope that you reach out to Footprinting. So you can do so by just giving them a call. You can ask any questions, get your next project set up, and also make sure that you're visiting their website, footprinting.com. There's a lot of other videos out there just like this that just are filled with tips and tricks that are going to help you create exactly what you're looking to create. So make sure you're doing that and stay tuned for our next video. Thank you.